Houthi rebels in Yemen launch missiles at Israel, escalating tensions again. On Tuesday, sirens sounded at several locations including Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv. Soon after, it was announced that 3 missiles launched from Yemen were intercepted. The reaction of Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz was harsh.
Yemen will suffer the fate of Tehran. We hit the head of the snake in Tehran. We will hit the Usis in Yemen. All hands raised against Israel will be cut off.
Perhaps B-2 bombers should visit Yemen, he wrote. He referred to the U.S. operation against 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee also made a remarkable post on social media. Perhaps B-2 bombers should visit Yemen, he wrote. He referred to the U.S. operation against 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. The U.S. and the Houthis reached a ceasefire in May, brokered by UNRWA. The Houthis had stopped targeting merchant ships in the Red Sea in return for Washington halting its attacks.
At this time yesterday, U.S. President Donald Trump was making remarks about Gaza. The 60-day ceasefire has been agreed upon. The U.S. and a threatening statement from the Israeli side. He seems to have thrown Gaza, Hamas, and Palestine. If you don't accept the deal, the situation will get worse, says Donald Trump. Hamas announced that they are studying the new offer. What will the supporters do next? Will there really be a ceasefire?
U.S. President Donald Trump has announced that Israel has accepted a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza. But how will the process work from now on?
Hamas wants a 60-day ceasefire to be followed by negotiations leading to a permanent end to the war. On the other hand, Hamas does not want to release all the hostages holding in Gaza during the 60-day temporary ceasefire, but Tel Aviv opposes this too, arguing that the aid would fall into the hands of Hamas. The next critical date for the process is July 7th. The critical development came just after Israeli Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer traveled to Washington to meet with Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff.
The mediating countries Qatar and Egypt conveyed the offer on the table to Hamas. Hamas announced that they were studying the new proposal. They said they want an agreement to end the war and get the Israeli army out of Gaza. The group's final response will determine the course of the negotiations. Trump wants Hamas to accept the deal as soon as possible. He said that for the sake of the Middle East, Hamas must accept the deal. Otherwise, he threatened that the situation in Gaza could worsen. Israel has sent similar messages. If Hamas does not accept the deal, the Israeli army will expand its ground offensive in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared that there will be no more Hamas and no more Hamas. He said they will not go back to the beginning of the process. According to Arab officials speaking to the Israeli press, there are still major obstacles to the agreement. Hamas wants the 60-day ceasefire to be followed by negotiations leading to a permanent end to the war, and it wants a clear commitment from the United States. The Netanyahu administration is opposed to this. It argues that a permanent ceasefire is only possible if Hamas completely disarms and its senior members go into exile. On the other hand, Hamas does not want to release all the hostages it is holding in Gaza during the 60-day temporary ceasefire. This is because it is worried that Netanyahu will break his promise and resume attacks. This is precisely why the group is willing to release the remaining hostages if a permanent ceasefire is reached. There is another point of contention. Hamas demands a return to the old system or a new mechanism, as Israel has turned aid distribution points into death traps. But Tel Aviv opposes this too, arguing that the aid would fall into the hands of Hamas. The next critical date for the process is July 7th. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will go to the White House to meet Trump. The U.S. president said he would be very clear and firm with Netanyahu that the war in Gaza must end. I think we will have an agreement next week.